incidence ng fatty liver in kids and non-alcoholics o yung mga cases ng mga bata at mga matatanda and adults and young adults na hindi naman umiinom pero nakitaan ng mga senyales ng fatty liver, either pagtaas ng kanilang liver enzymes, SGPT, SGOT, and of course, paglaki ng kanilang mga tiyan and on ultrasound abdominal ultrasound, nakita na merong mga fatty infiltrates sa kanilang atay, sa kanilang liver. Bakit nagkakaroon ng ganito? And paano ito pwedeng maiwasan? Mostly, the fatty liver before is associated with alcoholism, yung sobrang pag-inom ng alcohol. Kasi yung alcohol is nagiging toxic sa ating atay and this can lead into fat build-up. Saka dyan pa lang, makikita na natin na yung fatty liver is actually not directly related or caused by fat intake. Kung sa mga alcoholics nga, kahit walang fat intake, it can lead into fatty liver. And the same thing also sa mga non-alcoholics. For the longest time, kapag merong isang pasyente na merong fatty liver, ano yung number one na sinasabing kailangan ipagbawal? Bawalan yung pagkain ng taba, bawalan yung pagkain ng mamantika, kailangan i-avoid muna. But if you look closely, especially for kids na nakadepend lang naman sa binibigay ng mga magulang yung kanilang pagkain, how come they have fatty liver na hindi naman ganoon kataas yung kanilang fat intake? More so, wala naman silang mga alcohol intake. Why? Titingnan natin what causes fatty liver. Because meron palang area ng ating liver o pathway sa ating atay na pwede itong mag-lead into toxic effect sa ating atay even without consumption of fats. Ano ito? I will share the screen with you para makita ninyo kung ano yung pathway na yan. So this is the pathway of fatty liver. Yes, it has later something to do with adipose tissue. Nagkakaroon ito ng epekto leading to insulin resistance na kung saan na merong fat build up. But in here, you can see the upper part is another silent na killer, silent na enemy ng ating liver. This is the high fructose consumption. High fructose consumption o sobrang taas ng fructose. Fructose from the word itself, fructose, parang related to fruits, no? And that is really the natural kind of sugar na makikita sa fruits. However, hindi lang sa fruits ito. Actually, yung fruits, kahit pa moderation yung dapat na pagkain natin yan, but that can be excused. Mas marami yung fructose consumption ngayon, especially binibigay sa mga bata na akala natin hindi mataas sa fructose. We will go into that in a short while, but in here you can see na high fructose consumption, nagkakaroon ng problema sa ating lining sa tiyan, nagkakalid din to ng gut barrier, and nagkakaroon ng altered gut barrier na tinatawag nating leaky gut na nagproduce ng mga inflammatory na metabolites. Ito yung mga cytokines. And then marami pang iba that is leading into inflammation. And fructose, directly itong nakakakos ng cellular stress and inflammation. And ito ay nag-lead into steatosis. Ano yung steatosis? Steatosis is ang sobrang pag-develop ng taba mismo because our liver is capable of producing fats. From fructose, merong pathway na pwede itong maging taba. So, from the sweet, from the sugar, from the soft drinks, from the fruit juice na binibigay natin sa mga bata, kahit pa walang fried chicken, kahit pa walang mamantika, kahit pa walang taba ng baboy, kahit pa walang butter, this can still increase the fat build-up within the liver. And just to note, although we can discuss this in another time, you can see here, there's also increased production of uric acid. So don't ever wonder how fatty liver, when diagnosed, also goes with increased uric acid. Kahit pa hindi kayo kumakain ng maraming karne, umiiwas kayo sa red meat, but if you are over-consuming your fructose consumption, aside from fatty liver, that can also lead into high uric acid or hyperuricemia. So hindi lang yan. After that one, it can lead into insulin resistance na magpa-further ng damage sa atin. So, magkakaroon na ng generalized inflammation sa ating katawan, mahihirapan na mag-lose ng weight, yung fats na nag-build up, it will further secrete other inflammatory metabolites like TNF-alpha, interleukins, NEFA, and others na tinatawag nating adipokines. So, yung mga adipokines are the inflammatory na mga particles na pinoproduce mismo ng adipose cells o yung fat cells. So, that is how important it is. So, paano natin iwasan yung fructose para hindi tayo magkaroon ng fatty liver, especially na mas marami naman ngayon yung hindi talaga umiinom. And most especially sa kids na hindi natin alam, we are actually feeding them of too much fructose. Ipapakita ko sa inyo yung mga common foods na hindi natin namamalayan that are actually pala already loaded with fructose. I-share ko sa inyo yung mga sample ng mga food na yan. And this would be this one. Magsimula tayo sa breakfast. So, this one. So, these corn cereals and the other cereals, Fruit Loops, chocolate-based cereals, at maraming iba pa, these are actually loaded with high fructose corn syrup. So, high fructose corn syrup is a crystallized form of fructose na very, very much damaging sa katawan, and it can easily build up, especially na when we give this to the kids. Hindi lang ito ganito. Usually, meron pang gatas, meron pang cheese, meron pang itlog, meron pang apple, meron pang juice, and all of those are too much fructose in one meal, more so in a day. Kasi kapag humingi ng snacks, ano yung binibigay? Biscuit, mga crackers, cookies. What are the other forms of fructose? Other foods na related to fructose? We will show you more. Kasi akala natin yung fructose, naririnig natin na nakakatakot yan. But as to kung ano yung mga practical foods that are actually loaded with fructose, gummy bears, yung mga candy, potato chips still also has fructose, yung mga soda, yung mga fruit juices, yung mga fruit concentrates, the cakes, yung mga fruits in can, pineapple, chocolates, again, cereals, and majority of the yogurts right now. Sobrang hirap makahanap ng good quality yogurt. If hindi kayo sure sa yogurt na yon, better avoid, because right now in the market nakikita ko maybe sa bawat 5 market na napupuntahan ko, and these are mostly big supermarket, buti na lang merong isang supermarket na nagbebenta ng somewhat good quality yogurt. So, if that's the case, medyo mahirap ito because this is going to be loaded with fructose. At eto pa naman, yung usual na binibigay natin for snacks sa mga bata. What else? We can show more of these fructose-loaded na mga pagkain na hindi lang natin namamalayan. Na eto pala ay hindi lang treats. Ang isa sa pinaka-culprit dito would be this, di ba? Tayo nga mga tatanda, halos nasa scam pa dito. I remember even in college, meron akong isang jar ng lahat ng kung anong bagong candies. Nagko-collect kami ng friend ko na parang hindi dapat, kung merong akong isang flavor ng Mentos na ganito, dapat lahat ng flavor ng Mentos na ganyan, meron ako niyan. And no wonder parating sumasakit yung aking ipin. And of course, maraming dinaramdam. Hindi lang namamalayan kasi bata pa, but good thing, hindi na umabot na magkasakit talaga. And I hope you will get to see these foods because these food stuff are just plain sugar, are just plain fructose. Yung fructose kasi, hindi yan na may metabolize ng ating katawan just like glucose. Yung glucose nagagamit pa as energy. However, fructose, yung only na nakakagamit nito would be the liver. And when the liver is also loaded with glucose and other foods, yun ay nako-convert lang into triglycerides and lipids at yun yung nakakakos ng build-up. So kung bawal na ang bigyan ng mga ganong pagkain yung mga bata, ano na lang yung pwede nilang kainin. So, it's actually quite simple. Ano yung kailangan natin ibigay sa mga bata? Just give them real food. Kailangan alisin natin sa ating utak na yung kanilang snacks ay dapat tinapay, dapat sandwich lang, o di kaya something na naka-plastic yung uso sa school, yung mga mamon, yung mga chips. If you keep on giving those foods sa mga bata, then of course, mawawalan sila ng gana sa real food and they will just be addicted to those food stuff na totoo lang, parang overrated na yung term na junk food. Pero sa totoo lang, they are really junk. Wala talaga silang laman na sustansya. They are all loaded with calories, energy equivalent, coming from carbohydrates, mostly glucose and fructose. Pero when it comes to their vitamins and minerals content, halos wala sila. Not all fructose are bad. In fact, yung ibang fructose is okay naman, especially if they come from a more natural source. But not because they are from natural source, ay kakainin na natin ito ng unlimited in amount. So this one is an example, the fructose in fruits. So all fruits also contain fructose. So like ang isang kamatis, merong 1.7 grams of fructose, isang orange, 9 grams of sugar with 3 grams of fructose, one medium apple, 19 grams of sugar. Just so mayroon kayong idea ha, 4 grams of sugar is like 1 teaspoon na. So 19 grams is roughly about 5 teaspoons of sugar. And yung isang banana, kaya natin ina-avoid talaga yung banana because it's actually quite high. 14 grams of sugar, 6 grams fructose. So if you give fruit, kung gusto niyo talaga na merong some source of fructose, kahit hindi siya essential na ibibigay nyo, fruits can be better. But they shouldn't be given on an unlimited amount as if sila yung pinaka makakapagpaka-healthy sa kanila. Because even if you give apple or banana, pero on top of cereals, tapos meron pang mga sugar-loaded flavored yogurts, and then sa school, meron pang mga orange juice, meron pang mga naka-tetra pack, or di kaya soft drinks, the worst, then these fruits is just gonna be an added fructose, just an additional na extra sugar sa katawan. They are still gonna give the same amount of calories na sobra-sobra. But when you give your kids foods and also the other family members real food, then hindi nyo kailangang problemahin ang pagkakaroon ng fatty liver kahit pa kumakain ng taba, kahit pa kumakain ng pork, kahit pa kumakain ng meat, because you are going to use them as energy when you do low carb, because that is what we differ when it comes to low carb nutrition and typical diet. Yung low carb nutrition kasi, we are not afraid of fats, and seldom you can find mga naka-low carb na merong fatty liver. Mas marami yung mga low carbers na na-reverse yung kanilang fatty liver, or yung tawag natin dito, they have a very well-rested liver. Yung liver enzymes are very, very low. Low, normal. Because hindi ito nahihirapan. It is functioning well and not building up fats. And the fats that we are consuming, we are actually using as energy. The problem with a typical high-carb diet is the moment you eat glucose and fructose, tumataas yung insulin. And yung insulin, dinidiktahan niya yung atay not to use those fats. Hindi nagagamit yung mga taba, at yung taba na yon nagpo-form lang ng build-up sa atay at sa dugo, at ito yung mga tabang pwedeng nakakabara ng ating puso, ng ating utak, leading to cardiovascular diseases like heart attack and stroke. So fatty liver may just be the start. Good news, it is very easily reversible bago pa ito maging steatohepatitis and bago pa ito maging liver cirrhosis, and eventually ma-prevent din yung one of the worst case scenario, which is the development of liver carcinoma. So if tayo mismo nahihirapan ngayon on letting go of those sweets, of letting go of those junk foods, I hope you give the right contribution sa mga bata sa family to not give them the same problems that we face, the same problems na kung bakit tayo nahihirapan when it comes to our health. Start them young, ika nga. Let them be a part of the discussion. Tell them the pros and cons when it comes to food. And if you need support, marami naman tayong Facebook group to help you, especially for kids. Merong mga inspirations kung ano yung pwedeng ipabaon ng mga low-carb foods na usually patok na patok sa mga bata. For the food inspirations, meron tayong Life Without Rice, and for questions and queries and inspirations, meron tayong Low Carb Feasting and Fasting Community. When it comes to kids, what we see is mas madali nilang naiintindihan or mas gusto nilang mag-follow ng same healthy lifestyle if they see that their parents are also doing the same and are doing it consistently. Eventually, sila mismo gusto nilang sumali. They will try to and ask questions, and I hope you will be able to answer them well. For guidance, we have JGC Rojo Food List. Focus on the safe list para mas maganda yung healing. Meron mga few cases na kahit nag-low carb na, hindi pa rin nawawala yung kanilang fatty liver even if pumapayat na sila. Ang payat-payat na nila, but liver problem is still the same because that's the time that maybe you are not doing it right. And that's the one that we discuss also in our fatty liver, hypercholesterolemia, hypertriglyceridemia masterclass. Meron tayong LCF masterclass for that. You can send a message to our page if you wish to enroll in that exclusive group para mas mag-guide natin kayo, where we do our live interactive sessions and live Q&A every week. For this, I think we only have mga 2 to 3 months left before matapos yung ating LCF masterclass na merong live sessions, because after this 3 months, mawawala na yung live sessions. It's just going to be recorded sessions. So if you want to participate in our live interactive sessions, just message our admins. And also, we will give free planner for those who will enroll this month. So maraming salamat, everyone. Remember that fatty liver in kids and non-alcoholics may not just be related to fat intake. Yes, too much fat can also contribute, but it is the presence of too much fats with insulin dominating. And the dominance of insulin will start, magsisimula yung pagdodominate ng insulin if you are also eating foods that will spike insulin. And the majority of the most important culprit nito is the intake of too much carbohydrates. Proteins, in a way, it can also increase but not really spike. It's not that problematic as long as you stay low carb. So that's it for tonight. I hope you learned something. I hope you start feeding your kids real food, and also you start feeding yourselves real food. Huwag na tayong magpadala sa mga processed foods, highly palatable, yung sobrang nakakagana, but very, very low in satiety. Yung hindi nakakabusog, hindi nakakasatisfy, and those are the criteria of foods that are considered to be addicting. And number 1 sa kanila are loaded with glucose, fructose, plus some seed oils na very toxic then, and also salt to make it more appetizing. But salt alone is not that bad, is not bad at all. In fact, it is essential. But you have to make sure that you are eating right on the other things, staying low carb, sticking to real, nutritious, nutrient-dense, low-carb foods, real foods coming from meat, from eggs, from fish, seafood, at marami pang iba. So maraming salamat, everybody. I'll see you again in our next video. Maraming salamat po, and remember to always stay low carb so that we all stay safe. Have a good night.